Hello students, myself is Parminder Singh from Prab Kirpa classes. Our today's topic is the fundamental unit of life. Today we will perform NCERT questions and important questions. So let us start. Now the question arises, what is the cell wall? As already told that animal cells do not have cell wall. Only the plant cells have cell wall, which is in addition to the plasma membrane. And this cell wall is outside the plasma membrane. You can see here in this picture, this is the cell wall, this is the outer covering, and this is the cell membrane, which is the internal covering. And this is the large vacuole. Only one vacuole is found in case of plant cells, while in the case of animal cells there may not be any vacuole, or if found they may be more than one. So we come to the main question, cell wall. It is also found in bacterial and fungal cells. Cell wall lies outside the cell membrane or plasma membrane. Cell wall is absent in the case of animal cells. Cell wall provides structural support as well as protection to the cell. Plant cell wall is mainly composed of cellulose. There may be a question in the exam of what substance plant cell wall is made up of. So the answer is cellulose. The presence of cell wall enables the cells of plants, fungi and bacteria to exist in hypotonic media without bursting. So if a plant cell is placed in a hypertonic solution, more water leaves the cell, then enters it, and the cell will shrink. We call this cell contraction as plasmolysis. So another question is, what is cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is a gel-like fluid. This is gel-like fluid, this, which is spread throughout the inside of the cell. It is composed of, that is, cytoplasm is composed of water, salt and various organic molecules. It also contains many specialized organelles. What are those organelles? These may be Golgi body, these may be mitochondria, it may be smooth reticulum or rough endoplasmic reticulum, it may be nucleus, it may be ribosomes, or it may be vacuole. Each of these organelles perform a specific function for the cell. Cytoplasm is the ocean in which all the organelles float. Within the cytoplasm, materials move by diffusion. Diffusion is the process which we have already discussed. So now, another important organelle which is found inside, or which is an important part of the cell, is nucleus. Nucleus is the control center of the cell. It is the oval shaped body. This is the nucleus, floating in the cytoplasm. It can be seen easily with the help of a microscope. It consists of nuclear membrane, nucleoplasm, nucleolus, chromosomes, genes. You can see here that it is the nucleolus, this round shaped body. Nucleus is separated from the cytoplasm by a membrane called nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane keeps other organelles and components of the cell outside. That is, nuclear membrane keeps these other organelles of the cell outside the nucleus. There are pores in the nuclear membrane that allow selected materials to come inside and outside of the cell. There are you can say that there are pores outside this. There it is the nuclear membrane, you can say outside all, and it has small pores in it which allows selected material to come in and come outside the nucleus. With the help of microscope of higher magnification, we can see a smaller spherical body inside the nucleus. This is a spherical body, which is called nucleolus. This is nucleolus. In addition, nucleus contains thread-like structures called chromosomes. Inside the nucleus, we also find chromosomes. These chromosomes carry genes and help in the inheritance or transfer of characters from parents to offspring. These chromosomes' rod-shaped structures are visible only when the cell is about to divide. In the case of prokaryotes, nuclear region is purely defined due to the absence of nuclear membrane and known as nuclei. In the case of eukaryotes, nuclear region is well defined and surrounded by a nuclear membrane. Next, name 2 organelles that contain their own genetic material. Answer is mitochondria and plastids are the 2 organelles that contain their own genetic material. Both these organelles, that is mitochondria and plastids, have their own DNA and ribosomes. Another important question which may come in the exam is, if the organization of the cell, that is if the cell is destroyed due to some physical or chemical influence, what will happen? As a building is made up of bricks, all living organisms are made up of small tiny units called cells. Cell is the structural and functional unit of all living organisms. If the organization of a cell is destroyed due to some physical or chemical influence, all the activities performed by the different parts of the cell, that is growth, reproduction of the cell, production of energy, removal of waste from the cell, etc., will stop and the cell will die, because such type of functions were performed by the different parts of the cell. If the cell destroys, neither of these cell organelles or any of the part of the cell will perform its function, so the cell will stop functioning and the cell will ultimately die. Lysosomes. Lysosomes is a membrane bound organelle that contains powerful digestive enzymes. Lysosomes are known to contain more than 60 different enzymes which are very powerful digestive enzymes. This organelle is very acidic in nature. Lysosomes are like the stomach of the cell. What is their function? They digest dead or worn out or purely working organelles. Any organelle which is not functioning properly or which is dead, the lysosomes will eat it, digest it. Lysosomes also digest virus or bacteria that enter the cell. If any bacteria or virus enter the cell, lysosomes will digest it. Lysosomes also remove the cell debris. Debris means wastage. However, if the cell gets damaged beyond repair, if the cell is not likely to be repaired, it has damaged extensively, what will happen? The lysosome, this is the lysosomes, it will burst and the digestive enzymes which are present in the lysosomes will eat, may eat or digest other organelles of its cell, leading to the death of the cell. That is, these lysosomes will start eating the fellow organelles, which may be the mitochondria, ribosomes, Golgi body. it will start digesting these organelles. So it will ultimately lead to the death of the cell. So lysosomes are known as suicide bags of the cell. It is a very important question in the exam. Why lysosomes are known as suicide bags of the cell? Because if the cell gets damaged beyond repair, the lysosomes may burst and digestive enzymes present inside the lysosomes may digest or eat up other organelles of its own cell, which it will ultimately lead into the death of the cell. Another important point which we should remember, lysosomes are absent in prokaryotic cells but present in all animal cells and in very few plant cells. It is not correct if it comes in the exam whether lysosomes are found in the plant cells, the answer will be no, because the lysosomes are present in all the animal cells, but they are found in a very few plant cells, and the examples are fungi and yeast. Ribosomes. Another important question which may come in the exam is, where are the proteins synthesized inside the cell, or by which organelle? Proteins are synthesized by ribosomes. Ribosomes are the sites of protein synthesis. Ribosomes are found attached to ER, or ribosomes may be freely floating in the cytoplasm. These are very small and roughly spherical structures. They are found floating in the cytoplasm or attached to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. You can see here in the picture, this is the cytoplasm, and these are freely moving ribosomes, and some of the ribosomes, they are attached to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Another type of endoplasmic reticulum is smooth endoplasmic reticulum, but ribosomes are only attached to the rough endoplasmic reticulum and not with the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Next question is Golgi apparatus. What is Golgi apparatus? You can see here that in this picture these are of this shape. They are also known as Golgi complex, Golgi body, or simply the Golgi. It is an organelle which is found in most eukaryotic cells. Golgi body was discovered in 1898 by Italian physician Camillo Golgi during an investigation of the nervous system. That is, when Golgi was investigating the nervous system, he found this Golgi body. Golgi apparatus. What is the function of this Golgi body? It performs the function of modification, packaging, and transport of proteins and lipids, which are sent to different parts of the cell and oblique or outside the cell. Another important question which may come in the exam, what will happen if there is no Golgi apparatus in the cell? If there is no Golgi apparatus or Golgi body, then the packaging or the transport of material will not happen. Other cells and organelles in the body will not function properly without the products that the Golgi body normally sends to them. Now we discuss about another important organelle which is found inside the cell, and its name is mitochondria. Mitochondria are known as the powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria is present in both plant as well as in animal cells. Mitochondria are small organelles inside the cells. You can see here in this picture, these are mitochondria. They are involved in releasing energy from food. Mitochondria stores and releases energy in the form of ATP. ATP is known as the energy currency of the cell. Mitochondria cannot survive outside of the cell. Mitochondria move freely in the cytoplasm of the cell. That is, it may move from here to here, from here to here. Mitochondria use oxygen and glucose to make ATP. Mitochondria also make chemicals for other cell purposes such as breaking down waste products, responding to infections and injury, etc. Some organisms may have a single large mitochondrion. Mitochondrion is a word which is singular. If we make it plural, it becomes mitochondria. If we are talking about a single mitochondria, it is mitochondrion. Others have thousands of mitochondria. Other organisms may have. Some organs like muscle, liver, kidney, brain contain higher number of mitochondria. Mitochondria are strange organelles in the sense that they have their own DNA and ribosomes. There may be a question in the exam, why mitochondria are strange organelles? They are strange organelles in the sense that they have their own DNA and ribosomes. So the mitochondria are able to make some of their own proteins. You can see here that these are the mitochondria. Here an important function which is given is powerhouse of the cell, produces the energy a cell needs to carry out its functions. It is found in both plant and animal cells. So next is endoplasmic reticulum. What is the, we will divide this endoplasmic. First we will see what is the meaning of endo. Endo means inside. Then comes plasmic. Plasmic means cytoplasm. Now we will see what is the meaning of reticulum. Reticulum means network. That is inside cytoplasm network. So complete form is endoplasmic reticulum is a large network of membrane bound tubes and sheets. You can see here that these are rough endoplasmic reticulum, these are smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is in essence the transport system of the eukaryotic cell and has many other important functions such as protein folding. Two types of endoplasmic reticulum are RER, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum, and SER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. RER looks rough under a, this is rough endoplasmic reticulum. It looks rough under a microscope because it has ribosomes. You can see here that these are dots are of ribosomes which are attached to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The ribosomes are the sites of protein manufacture. The manufactured proteins are then sent to various places in the cell depending on the need using the endoplasmic reticulum. On the other side, smooth endoplasmic reticulum has no ribosomes. It appears smooth. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum helps in the manufacture of lipids. What is the another important function of SER? It also plays a major role in detoxifying many poisons and drugs in the liver cells of vertebrates. Next, plastids. You have seen the plants manufacturing their own food. They have not to go here and there to find food. They manufacture their own food. It is only because of the green colored plastids which are found inside the plant cells. The plastid is an organelle which is double membrane bound It is not found in the animal cells. It is found in the cells of plants, algae, and other eukaryotic organisms like mitochondria. Plastids also have their own DNA and ribosomes. Plastids provide color to fruits and flowers. Plastids are involved in the manufacture and storage of food. Plastids are also known as the kitchen of the cell because plastids contain a pigment called chlorophyll, which plays an important role in the preparation of food by plant cells, that is photosynthesis. Plastids are of three types: chromoplasts, chloroplasts, leucoplasts. First, we will discuss leucoplasts. These are white colored or colorless plastids. They do not participate in photosynthesis. They are primarily organelles which store foods such as starch, oil, protein granules. Chromoplasts. These are chloroplasts. These are colored plastids other than chloroplast, containing yellow or orange pigment. Now comes third plastid, which is known as chloroplast. These are green colored plastids which help in the synthesis of food because chloroplasts contain chlorophyll. Now we come to another important vacuole which is found in the case of animals and plant cells. If we talk about plant cells, as already told, they normally have a large central vacuole, only single vacuole. While in the case of animals cells, they may have no vacuole, or if they have, they may have many small vacuoles. Now discuss this in detail. A vacuole is a membrane bound organelle which is present in plant and fungi cells and some protist and animal and bacterial cells. Vacuole is filled with water, sugar, minerals, and proteins. Animal cells may have no or many small vacuoles as compared to the plant cell, which has only a large central vacuole. Most mature plant cells have one large vacuole. The central vacuole of some plant cells may occupy 50 to 90% of the cell volume. In this picture, you can see that this is the plant cell and this is the large vacuole which is being found inside the plant cell. The main function of the vacuole is to handle waste products or store useful substances like water, proteins, etc. that the cell will need later on. In this picture, you can see it is an animal cell and here is a vacuole. These are three vacuoles. These are of very small size as compared to the plant cell which has a large vacuole, and it is only one in case of plant cell. In the case of single-celled organisms like amoeba, the food vacuole contains the food items that the amoeba has consumed. Now we come to the cell division. New cells are formed in the organisms in order to grow and to replace old, dead, and injured cells. New cells are also formed in organisms to form gametes required for reproduction. The process by which new cells are made is called cell division. Cell division is the process by which a mother cell divides into two or more daughter cells. When the cell divides, everything inside it, that is the nucleus, chromosomes, cytoplasm, also divide. Cell division is the process which makes growth and reproduction possible for any organism. There are two types of cell division, and these are mitosis and meiosis. First, mitosis. It is the process of cell division. See here in this picture, a cell is dividing into two. Here they have become two. Here you will again see cell divides and it becomes two. It is the process of mitosis. It is the process of cell division by which most of the cells divide for growth. In this process, each cell, that is somatic cell, called the mother cell, divides to form two identical daughter cells. Daughter cells have same number of chromosomes as the mother cell. You can see here that the chromosomes are the same in case of the daughter cells. It helps in the growth and repair of tissues in the organisms. Next is the process of cell division, meiosis. It is a special type of cell division which takes place in case of germ cells. Mitosis was the process which takes place in the case of somatic cells. Meiosis is the cell division process which takes place in the case of germ cells. Specific cells of reproductive organs in the tissues in animals and plants divide to form gametes, that is eggs and sperm, which after fertilization give rise to offspring. In meiosis, a cell divides twice. Here you can see it has divided into two. Then it again divides to produce 4 cells. In meiosis, a cell divides twice to produce 4 new cells. The new cells have half the number of chromosomes than that of the mother cells. Now we come to the conclusion of this course. We have learnt that cell is called the structural and functional unit of life because in case of this unicellular organism, all the functions are performed by a single cell and it provides the structure to the organism. And in the case of multicellular organism, all the cells in the multicellular organism work properly in uniformity so that whole of the organism functions properly, and all these cells collectively in the case of multicellular organism provide structure to the organism. Cells are enclosed by plasma membrane which is made up of proteins and lipids. Plasma membrane is known as a selectively permeable membrane because it allows only selected substances to move inside or go outside the cell, while it blocks others from coming inside the cell or going outside the cell. As already told, it does not allow the cytoplasm to move outside the cell. Plants also have a cell wall outside the cell membrane, that is this plasma. In the case of plant cells, outside the plasma membrane, there is another covering which is known as cell wall. Lysosomes are known as the suicide bags of the cell because if the cell is destructed in any way, then the lysosomes eat all the organelles of the cell, resulting into the death of the cell. Mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell because it supplies energy in the form of ATP. Prokaryotic cells have no membrane-bound organelles. Cells in organisms divide for growth of body, for replacing dead cells, and forming gametes for reproduction. Now we will do NCERT questions. First question pertains to the comparison between plant cells and animal cells. So let us start. Animal cells are generally small in size. Their shape is round or irregular. Plant cells are usually larger in size. Their shape is rectangular or normally it is fixed shape. Animal cells do not have cell wall. The outermost covering of the animal cells is plasma membrane. In the case of plant cells, cell wall is present. The outermost covering of the cell is cell wall, which lies outside of the plasma membrane. You can see here that in the case of animal cells, this is the plasma membrane, whereas in the case of plant cells, outer covering is cell wall and inside is this cell membrane. In the case of animal cells, chloroplast is not found. Chloroplast is a plastid which is found only in the case of plant cells, because chloroplasts contain chlorophyll, which help in the synthesis of food. Lysosomes are present in the case of animal cells, whereas the same are not present in the case of plant cells. You can see here lysosomes. This is the lysosome. An animal cell can often change its shape. Plant cell cannot change its shape. No or small vacuoles. You can see here that this is the vacuole, which is smaller in size. This is again a vacuole. This is again a vacuole. These are of small size. There may be no vacuole in the animal cell, or there may be small vacuoles in the animal cell. Whereas in the case of plant cell, a mature plant cell contains a large central vacuole. You can see here that this is the, in white color, this is the large central vacuole. Next is the comparison between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. First of all, we will understand on the basis of the nucleus, cells are of two types. We have also learned earlier that on the basis of the number of cells, cells are also of two types, multicellular, unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. But on the basis of the nucleus, cells are of two types, prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are generally small in size. This is the prokaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cells are generally large in size. Cellular nature. Prokaryotic cells are mostly unicellular. Unicellular means prokaryotic organisms are mostly single-celled organisms. Eukaryotic cells are unicellular as well as multicellular. Existence. Prokaryotic cells are primitive types of cell. That is, they used to exist very long ago and still existing today. Eukaryotic cells are an advanced cell which have evolved from the prokaryotic cell. Nuclear region. This is the main difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cells have poorly defined nuclear region due to the absence of nuclear membrane and are known as nucleate. Their purely defined nuclear region is known as nucleate. In the case of eukaryotic cells, they have a well-developed nuclear region which is also surrounded by a nuclear membrane. That is, a well-defined nucleus is present in the case of eukaryotes. Organelles. Membrane-bound cell organelles are not found in prokaryotic cells. That is, cell organelles such as Golgi, vacuoles, ribosomes, lysosomes are not present in the case of prokaryotic cells. Whereas in the case of eukaryotic cells, membrane-bound cell organelles are found. Ribosomes are of 70S type in the case of prokaryotic cells, whereas the same are of 80S type in the case of eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells structure is simple. Structure of eukaryotic cells is very complex. Chromosome is single in the case of prokaryotic cells. In the case of eukaryotic cells, more than one chromosome is found. DNA is circular in the case of prokaryotic, whereas it is linear in the case of eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells is found in the case of bacteria, blue-green algae, mycoplasma, whereas eukaryotic cells are found in the case of plants, animals and fungi. Now, another important question, what would happen if the plasma membrane ruptures or breakdowns? You can see here that this is the plasma membrane. If it breaks, what will happen? The plasma membrane, as already told, also known as cell membrane or cytoplasmic membrane. It surrounds the cytoplasm. This is the cytoplasm. This is the cytoplasm. It surrounds the cytoplasm of a cell. It separates the contents of the cell from the material outside the cell. That is what is found outside the cell. This is the outside of the cell. It separates, that this plasma membrane separates the contents of the cell from the outside of the cell. If this plasma membrane ruptures or breakdowns, there will be free movement of all the substances in and outside of the cell. The contents of the cell, that is cell organelles and cytoplasm, will leak out, and the cell will not be able to perform its basic functions. Such a cell with ruptured or broken plasma membrane will die. Next question is also important. What will happen if to the life of a cell if there is no Golgi apparatus? Golgi apparatus is also known as Golgi complex, Golgi body, simply Golgi, or we may simply call it Golgi. Golgi apparatus performs the function of modification, packaging, and transport of proteins and lipids, which are sent to different parts of the cell and or outside the cell. If there is no Golgi apparatus, then the packaging and transport of materials will not happen. Other cells and organs in the body would not function properly without the products that the Golgi body normally sends to them. Next question is also important. Which organelle is known as the powerhouse of the cell? Mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. It is found in the case of both plant and animal cells. Mitochondria are the small organelles which are found inside the cells. They are involved in releasing energy from food. They store and release energy in the form of ATP. What is ATP? It is known as the energy currency of the cell. Mitochondria cannot survive outside the cell. Mitochondria move freely in the cytoplasm, which is a gel-like fluid in the cell. Mitochondria moves freely in the same. Mitochondria use oxygen and glucose to make ATP. Next question. Where do lipids and proteins constituting the cell membrane get synthesized? As already told, cell membrane is composed of lipids and proteins. Now the question arises, where these two substances are constituted. Lipids are synthesized in the SER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and the proteins are synthesized in the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Now another important question is, how does amoeba obtain its food? As already you may be knowing that amoeba is a single-celled organism. It is mostly found in the case of pond water. It may be having any shape. It may be having this shape, it may be having this shape, or it may be having this much shape. It changes its shape and position constantly. It takes in food by extending far arm-like structures called pseudopodia from any part of the body. Pseudopodia means false feet. You can see here that if this is the amoeba and it is the food which has come near to it, it moves any part of its body. It forms false feet and takes in the food, and forms the food vacuole, which ultimately gets digested. The food is trapped and is gradually digested and absorbed. Amoeba eats algae, bacteria, and plant cells. What is phagocytosis? Is the process by which a cell uses its plasma membrane to engulf a large particle, giving rise to an internal compartment called the phagosome. Now the question arises, what is osmosis? Osmosis is a type of diffusion. It takes place in liquids. It is spontaneous net movement of water or any other solvent molecules through a selectively permeable membrane from a region of high water concentration to a region of low water concentration till equilibrium is reached is called osmosis. Osmosis is a passive transport, that is, for this process no energy has to be applied. Example of osmosis in our daily life is plant cells soaking up water. Now another question is, which type of cell division is required for growth and repair of body, and which type of is involved in the formation of gametes? As already told, cell division is of two types, meiosis and mitosis. Mitosis is the type of cell division which is involved in the growth and repair of body, and this type of cell division is the cell division which mostly happens in the body of the organism, whereas meiosis is a type of cell division which results in the formation of gametes. Now we will perform some important questions pertaining to the lesson of the fundamental of unit of life. First question is, what is cell theory? Answer: the credit for developing cell theory is usually given to two scientists, Schwann and Schlieder. While Virchow contributed to the cell theory, he is not as credited for his stuff towards it. That is, only two scientists have been given the credit of cell theory. The three basic components of the cell theory are as under. All living organisms are composed of one or more cells. Cell is the basic unit of life in all living organisms. And the third basic component of cell theory is all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Second question, important. What is unicellular organism? Unicellular organism is also known as single-celled organism. It consists of a single cell. It means that all the life processes such as reproduction, feeding, digestion, excretion, etc. occur in one cell. Some examples of unicellular organisms are bacteria, protozoa, amoeba, unicellular fungi, etc. Here we have given the picture of amoeba and paramecium, who are single-celled organisms. We may also tell you that we have already uploaded a number of videos on different topics such as past tense, present tense, future tense, internet, computer virus, letter writing, most common mistakes on various online education sites such as Udemy, Affiliate, tutorials, and other sites. We also have our own website. You can view our any course on our website or any other online website. Now we come to the main topic. What is multicellular organism? Organisms made of more than one cell are called multicellular organisms. Multi means many, cellular means cell. All species of animals, land plants, and most fungi are multicellular. The number of cells in a multicellular organism may range from a few to billions of cells. All cells work in coordination for the proper functioning of the organism. An important question may arise, what is the lifespan of a unicellular organism or multicellular organism? The lifespan of a single-celled organism is short because there is a lot of work which has to be performed by a single cell. There is a load work is very heavy. All the functions, that is eating, digestion, reproduction, are performed by a single cell. While in the case of multicellular organism, the lifespan is longer because different cells carry out different functions. These are the photographs of a few multicellular organisms which are the beautiful creatures of the nature. Now the question arises, what is the shape and size of the cells? The cells of different living organisms may differ in shape and size. A unicellular organism, that is a single-celled organism like amoeba, has no definite shape and keeps on changing its shape. Within a multicellular organism, there are a variety of cells. Cell may be a blood cell, muscle cell, or nerve cells. Some cells are long, just like that. Some are short, others are circular, just like this, while others are oval. Shape and size of the cells are related to the specific function they perform. You can see here that nerve cells are branched and long because they have to supply messages to the different parts of the body. Cell membrane provides shape to the cells of plants and animals. Cell wall, which is an additional covering which is found in the case of plant cells, provides shape and rigidity to these cells. The size of the cells in living organisms may be as small as a micrometer or micron, or may be as large as few centimeters. The smallest cell is in bacteria and the largest cell is in the egg of an ostrich. Now the question is, what is the meaning of division of labor in a multicellular organism? As already told, in the case of unicellular organism, all the functions such like eating, digestion, reproduction, removal of waste are performed by the single cell in case of unicellular organism because there is only one cell in the organism. But in the case of multicellular organism, as the name suggests, multi plus cellular. Multi means many, cellular means cells. There are more than one cell in the organism. So there is division of labor. That is, the work is divided between these different cells. There is division of labor in multicellular organisms such as human beings. This means that the different parts of the human body perform different functions. The human body has a heart to pump blood, stomach to digest food, and so on. Similarly, division of labor is also seen within a single cell. Each cell has got certain specific components which are known as cell organelles. As you know, the cell organelles are mitochondria, lysosomes, ribosomes, Golgi apparatus, vacuoles, etc. Each kind of the cell organelle performs a special function, such as making new material in the cell, clearing up waste material from the cell, and so on. A cell is able to live and perform all its functions because of these organelles. These organelles together constitute the basic unit called the cell. Next question is, how do the movement of substances takes place into the cell, how substances come out of the cell, or why diffusion is important? The movement of substances, whether the substance is solid, liquid, or gas, from a region of its higher concentration to a region of its low concentration is called diffusion. Carbon dioxide or oxygen moves in and out of the cell by the process of diffusion. So diffusion plays an important role in the exchange of gases and water between the cells as well as the cell and its external environment. Now, another question is plastids. And what are the different kinds of plastids? Plastid is a double membrane bound organelle which is found in the case of plants, algae, and other eukaryotic organisms. Plastids are the organelles which are not found in the case of animal cells. Like the mitochondria, plastids also have their own DNA and ribosomes. Plastids provide color to fruits and flowers. Plastids are involved in the manufacture and storage of food. Plastids are known as the kitchen of the cell because they contain a pigment which is called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll plays an important role in the process of preparation of food, that is photosynthesis. Plastids are of three types: leucoplasts, chloroplasts, and chromoplasts. Leucoplasts are of white color or colorless. They do not participate in photosynthesis. They are primarily organelles which store food such as starch, oil, or protein granules. Chromoplasts are colored plasts other than chloroplast, typically containing yellow or orange pigment. Chloroplasts are green colored plastids which help in the synthesis of food due to the presence of chlorophyll. Now, another important question is, what is ATP? ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. It is a molecule found in the cells of living organisms. It is known as the energy currency of the cell. Mitochondria is the cell organelle which produces energy in the form of ATP molecule. Mitochondria supplies packs of energy in the form of packets of ATP. Whenever energy is required in the cell breaks down the ATP packet, which is a chemical reaction. In this reaction, energy is released. So the body of the organism uses this energy stored in the ATP for making new chemical compounds and for making mechanical work. Now, another important question is, what is cell made up of? What is the structural organization of the cell? Or what are the three important features which are found in almost every cell? Or what are the three important parts of the cell? The cell has special components called organelles. If we study a cell under the microscope, we would come across three features in almost every cell. We can also say that this cell has three important parts, which is these are plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. All the activities inside the cell and the interactions of the cell within its environment are possible due to these features. Cytoplasm contains organelles such as ribosomes, lysosomes, Golgi body, vacuoles, etc. If you like our video, please like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.